I'm at the point I'm a week past when I wanted to be querying. It's making it hard to focus on these last edits that need to be done before I query.
Yes.
I'm in that weird
Right.
edit funk. I love the story, but I want to write book 2. I want to query. Yeah, you just got to press through that.
I'm sorry to say this. I've had the opposite situation because I actually started being excited about writing again. So I went back to a novel that I started at the beginning of the year because for the past 8 months, I've just been editing my current novel. And I told one of my writer friends, I was like, I actually miss writing so much because I haven't done it in such a long time. And I was actually like, this whole week, even if it was 5 minutes, even if it was 2 sentences, I actually started writing again. And I was just like, oh, score. Like, I'm actually feeling good about that. Don't know if that helped you.
It's all helpful.
You know what would be more helpful, though, is to go into this episode with a guest author.
I love that idea. Should we have a guest author on today?
I think we should. I have a new tea today. I have a maple walnut rooibos tea. So we're going to try this one while we do this episode.
Fantastic. And I'm going with my tried and true apple cider.
Hey ho, let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tea and Tales. I'm Nell.
And I'm Sarah. Before we get started today, we want to give a big thank you to everyone who has been following us, commenting, and sharing all of our posts. Thank you so much, especially to Kathleen Zoll and Olivia Daniela. We love you both, and thank you so much for joining us. Today we have a great episode because it is a spotlight episode.
I am so super excited for this episode today because we have a fellow South African on our podcast today, and it's the best thing ever because I have so many questions.
Our guest today is A.K. MacBride. She is a romance author out of South Africa and a self-published indie author. Welcome, Alicia, to the Tea and Tales podcast. We've been looking forward to having you here.
I've been looking forward to being here.
On the same time zone. Isn't that fun?
Yes. That is like the best thing ever because usually I have to get up at 4 or 3 to do anything that remotely has to do with my face being somewhere.
Right.
So it's nice.
Crazy. Well, funny enough, I actually discovered you on Instagram. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, but it happened.
It was an algorithm blessing.
Right? And so I was like, wait, she's from South Africa. She's a writer. Do we have South African writers? Honestly, in my whole life, I never knew that South Africans could publish novels. You always think that writers are from overseas. You always think America or England or wherever. So when I saw that, I was just like, I'm not going to be the first South African published author. Rude. First of all,
I apologize.
Come on. I have more faith in your country than that.
So that was such a nice thing to see. So then, of course, I was like immediately follow. I was like, let's do this.
I hear that you have a book coming out this next year. Is that right?
This one is going really well. Like I literally just had a conversation with someone during the week because I had a very fantastic writing experience when I wrote Slow Burn during lockdown. And the book just kind of flowed from my fingers, and it wasn't huge word count days, but they all added up and the book came together really quickly and it felt effortless. And since then, it's been kind of a battle. Like the book after that one, I shouldn't say this, but I hate the book. And then then I switched to The Billionaire because I wanted to move out of small town because I thought I was just not enjoying that anymore. And then I rewrote the first book I ever published. And that's how I got my love for Billionaire again. And that book was fun because it was a rewrite, but I knew the characters, so it went easy. And then came the next book, and these characters were so freaking closed off. I literally got to know them as I was writing, which meant there was a lot of rewrites. I had to go back and change things with their personalities because it didn't fit. It was for another book. And I was so frustrated. But when I was with them, it was a fun experience. But with this book, I am halfway through actually. And I started when my daughter went back to school with which term are we in now? The second one. The third one, okay. Well, when she went back in July, I started writing when she went back because we had a whole host of sickness and it was a long winter. And I checked and I was like, I'm like halfway through the book. How did we get here? Which has been fun because these characters are really just speaking very loud, and I enjoy it when it's like that because then you just sit down and you type and things just happen. And with me, it's like this, I have this weird thing where I can sit down in the morning, I will open the manuscript and then I'm just staring at it because I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to go. And I have an hour or so where I just type random stuff and then all of a sudden it comes together and then it's like 2 hours of really fun writing time. And then I have to go get Amber at school and I'm like, but I don't want to. I want to keep writing.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
Same. Literally, that's how I would be. I would be sitting in front of the computer and I'm like, I want to write, but nothing is coming. And I'm like, then I start like single words and I'm like, unicorn, bubbles. And then it just starts like moving and I'm like, oh, wait, no, I'm busy. I'm in a groove.
Yeah. And then the scene just comes together. And what I've started doing with this book especially, I will write ahead, but not with the other books, like chapters. I would just write ahead in this chapter so that I know somehow I have to connect these two. But this scene right now, it's speaking to me. So let's go to this scene. And then I'll be like, oh, so this is what happens before that scene. So that's been fun with this book. Like, it's not these major rewrites. Like with An Inevitable Marriage, I think I tossed K that it wasn't for these characters. And I had to remove it. And it was painful. I was stuck for months on the same word count because I had to keep coming back and doing things and rewriting, and the whole thing was just, I was frustrated with the characters being so quiet and leaving everything till 99. It was very frustrating. But at the end of the day, I do love them. They are probably so far my favorite couple.
Okay.
I can just hear our audience going, you're not supposed to go back and rewrite. You're just supposed to write forward. You're not supposed to go back and rewrite. And I'm like, hey, leave her process alone.
I can't do that. Like, everyone always says you can't edit a blank page. Like, that part I understand, but it will bug me to no end, and then I cannot move forward. So I have to go back. Then I'm like, okay, but I know I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to be doing this in the editing phase, but I'm a rebel. I'm South African. I do what I want to.
There we go. Yeah. But you know what? What I have found, though, is when I have to start a new day and I have to start a new scene, I go back to read what I wrote because I was like, then I can kind of get an idea of what I'm reading. But then as I'm reading what I wrote, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound... Let's re-edit that a little bit.
I do that every morning. It's like a ritual. When I come here with my little coffee, now I'm waiting. So I have a routine because I try to do my TikTok and social media stuff. I try to do that early in the morning so that it doesn't bug me for the rest of the day. So I do that probably 5 o'clock when my husband leaves. So then I'll grab the TikTok phone and I'll quickly post and do what I need to do. Then when I get to the computer, I do my scheduling for my Instagram reels because we have to schedule everything. Then when I get my coffee, then I will reread what I wrote. And then it's like, okay, this is not working. That sentence structure, I don't like it.
I love this insight into the indie author here, because you're talking about, I sit down to write, but then I have to schedule this and I have to make sure this is done. I have to do my marketing. I have to, all those little pieces that are all up to you.
Yes. And it's frustrating because I don't think everyone is like me, but I think that, okay, I might need someone to help do that. But then I think of something as simple as my newsletter. It is so personal. I cannot imagine someone else writing that and sending it. And I'm very particular with how I want my stuff posted and the way it should look. So I cannot imagine being on someone's neck about that. So I just do everything myself, but you get frustrated and tired and a whole lot irritated because we have to do ads and you have to look at how the ad is performing. And then some days you just don't look at it at all because you don't have the energy, because you want to spend that time writing. I would much rather be writing all day, every day. I enjoy the times, or I miss the times when it was just writing and you didn't think about the business side of the book world. You could just sit down and just write whatever was in your brain.
So, as an indie author, we say you have to do your own marketing and stuff like that. And I think we've talked about it a little, where I was like, how many TikToks do you do? Or like, how many Instagrams do you do? So what is your marketing basically look like?
I have my ads. My ads are my hard worker. So I set them up. They have to work, and then you have to go back and, you adjust them sometimes once a week. Sometimes, for me, when I'm like in a writing zone, I adjust them once a month, which is not advisable. You have to be there on top of it because they will just chow your money. My main thing to try and get new readers is my ads, my Facebook ads. With TikTok and Instagram, it's free marketing. It's only costing my time. And I think last year we had that whole big uptake with TikTok being really good for book talk. So a lot of us jumped on. I think at this moment now, I think it's very oversaturated. So it's like you're posting, but it's views. Everyone's views has taken a dip, and it's awful. But the funny thing though, when you don't post, especially for me, when I don't post or when videos don't perform, I can see that it's doing something on the back end. Like even if it's like a small tick, I can see that it's doing something. So, we keep pushing, and it's frustrating. Like with, I think with Instagram, I have them scheduled for twice a day to try and hit all audiences. So, but it's frustrating because you sit there and then you have to make these videos and you take the time. Like sometimes it takes you a whole day to make 2-3 videos, and then it's content for 2 days if you're lucky. But again, it's not costing money. So we put it, I try to put in the time, or just divide my time so that I'm not spending all of the time there. I do see it as a necessity in today's day and age, while TikTok and Instagram and the Facebook Reels are still doing something for us without costing too much.
Yeah, and especially as an indie author, because you do have to spend money on editing and all those other things that you wouldn't do if you were published.
I've slowed down so much. I'm only releasing a book once a year, which I'm trying desperately to change. With this, if I can finish this book like before the year is done, then I'm not going to change the pre-order date. I'm keeping it as is, and I just want to keep writing so that I can just get ahead, because you're just trying to catch your breath. Because I feel with indie, we actually have to publish more, but not write and publish, because you want to give your readers quality over quantity. So I don't want to just write and send them off, but I do feel, because everything is so oversaturated, like we have to publish more, and just to get in front of those readers, because there's so many readers we have not even remotely tapped into. It's a whole freaking world full of readers. It's just finding them, which is, I think, the problem. I think even for indie and traditional, it's just finding those readers.
Yeah, and I love the meme. You've probably seen it going around that says, how do you support an indie author? And then it says, like their posts, share their posts, comment on their posts, leave your review, no matter what the review is, no matter, like, your comment can be, love your cover. It doesn't matter. The algorithm doesn't care. But the more that you just interact in any way, the more that they can get out to more readers.
And it's free. That's a big thing. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. I will make sure, like, if I see something, a fellow author, I will comment, share, or do whatever I have to, because I know that at the end of the day, that is their algorithm working. And Instagram, Facebook, wherever you post or do that, it's going to see, like, okay, this interaction, and then it might show it to more people will actually be the readers they're looking for.
You do self-publishing, but have you ever thought of doing traditional publishing, or has that never been a thought?
I did actually. When I started writing, I desperately wanted to write for Harlequin. That's how I got into everything, because I was reading my mom's Mills and Boon books, as we all do.
Yes, Mills and Boons.
Yeah. And that's how I started. I actually know how I started reading, but that's where I got into romance.
That's apparently how all South Africans get into romance.
That's all we had. So that's how it started. Like, I wanted to write for them. And then they had this whole list of, like, a formula and rules. And as I was writing, I didn't like rules. I didn't want to be told my characters have to kiss on page 120 and whatever has to happen on page 300. I didn't like that whole being boxed in. And then I actually started writing on Wattpad before I even knew that we could self-publish. So I figured out we could do this on Wattpad, and that was fun for like 2 seconds. Not. people are brutal. Wattpad readers are a whole other breed. I tell you that. They scare me. I am terrified of them. But then I was actually just searching for publishing methods, and KDP popped up, and I was like, what? We can self-publish? We can really do that? So that's how I got into self-publishing. It was very exciting. And then when you publish, there is no big confetti raining over you or nothing. It's crickets. So then I had to figure out.
What? Your husband didn't throw a whole bucket of confetti over you? How dare he?
No, how dare he? Yeah, so that was like a nice kicker, because crap, we have to advertise. And then I realized, well, maybe I should have gone traditional, but I still don't regret it though.
Do you ever think you'd want to do traditional publishing?
I don't think I would fit well with traditional publishing. Indie has spoiled me. I have reports and everything that I can check on a daily, and I have one book that is kind of with a publisher. It's we did the Cocky World with V. Keeland and Penelope Ward, so that is through them. So basically, they are the publishers, and the whole thing with waiting for reports, and you don't have a say in a lot of things. I don't like that. I don't like that. I really don't. Like when there's something wrong with my cover, I can literally just tell my husband, please fix it. Because he does my covers. I like the whole, it just fits with the generation of, we want everything immediately. But that's what you get with indie. That's like the good side. You can immediately see if an ad is working or if a post that you're doing has done something. Where I think with traditional, it takes longer and you don't know. You literally have to wait till the end of the quarter with most things. And because my audiobooks are like that. They are with publishers, all my audiobooks, and it's frustrating. As fun as it is not to spend that whole huge amount out of the gate, waiting for reports to see like if this ad is working or what is happening on the audio side, it is frustrating.
So I'm curious because I am in the United States, but I did live in Spain for the last 3 years trying to get a publisher and found some interesting roadblocks. I was curious about your experience there in South Africa. Does it feel like it is harder to be a published author in South Africa than you think it would be if you were in another country like Europe or here?
Absolutely. I think I wish I was in the United States. Something simple like book signings. We cannot do that here. Like you have to do everything virtually. So I cannot go out and physically meet readers, which is something I feel that it's missing because it would be nice. There is a ferocious bunch of South African readers that I just discovered this year, which I am very excited about. Like there's a whole group of them. You will not believe this. They come in herds. I swear they come in herds. I had physical copies of my books that I ordered and they sold out. Like my box came and I had to send them to someone else so that she could ship them away after she sprayed the edges. So that was quite cool. So we do have readers, but we don't have these big events that are so nice. And something on the business side, which is really awful, is with ACX, we can't claim our titles because we're in South Africa and ACX they throw their hands in the air. So literally anyone can go and my titles that are not in audio, they can go make them audio and I cannot do a single thing because I can't claim my titles on ACX.
No.
So that is a struggle. That is you constantly check because, I'm terrified that someone might do that because there are a few of my books that have not been turned into audio. And if I don't claim them on ACX, which I can do, literally any publisher can go claim the book and record the book and they get all the proceeds.
No.
Wow.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
So then with all of that complication, is it easier for you to find editors who are there in South Africa, or do you reach out to these other countries to find editors for your book?
I have my editor is actually in the UK.
It's very Americanized, which is quite funny that you go to someone who's from the UK because they also don't use the American slang.
No, but she's very good with she does a bunch of American author stuff, so she's very good. with the American way of saying things. But my proofreader is American, so she comes and she picks up everything that we both missed. But finding an editor, I think, again, with being indie, it's very hit and miss because we have to do the legwork. We don't have a huge company that does the legwork and can see if these people are reliable. And I have had more than once that I have hit my head against some blocks that, you cry in very large amount of dollars because you think everything is fine and then it's really not. So it takes a lot of digging, and that's how I got to this editor. Like, there was a bunch of authors, and that you have to go see their books. Like, I had to go and read their books and check if this is the way that I like for her to edit my stuff, and if she's going to change my voice or any of that. So, but she's very thorough, and she's very good at keeping your voice, because I know a lot of authors, they do worry about that. And that comes with, I think, being or just writing for a while, because in the beginning, if someone suggested I made a change, I would change it. I wouldn't just trust my gut and be like, no, I don't want to change that. I would just change it because you think it's going to be better. And that's the one big thing that I have learned, is that you just have to trust your gut, because no one knows the story that's inside you the way that you know the story that's inside you. Because I can give you a plot and I can have the same plot and we will not have the same story.
But then now I have to ask though, because I've read your novels. Alicia, you do realize you're South African, right? And you do realize you do live in South Africa, right? So
I do.
Are we ever going to see like a South African character in your novel?
No, if we can wrangle up a South African billionaire, maybe. Listen, I couldn't imagine, because when I think of South Africa, right, I think of Yanni Opiplos with his khakis and his button down and his little leather hat. And I'm like, I cannot see this working in a book.
Oh, that would be so cute.
No, Alicia,
I don't read romance.
You will, no, I'm sorry. Now you will have to do a farmer's series.
I can see the cover now with the tractor. And just imagine it, although I wouldn't know what the dialogue would be.
Like a man, like a...
That would be there. That would be there. And there would definitely be something about Brandewyn.
Yes, and Biltong.
Yes.
A braai. There should definitely be a braai in there somewhere.
Yes,
as well.
There'll be a braai. Like, I just saw a clip today that was really funny, and someone compared a braai to a barbecue, and the comments were very funny.
It's things like that we're missing in literature right now, in my opinion, and that people are looking for, because I don't know in romance, because I don't connect to the romance so much, but in the fantasy world, going into cultures that are not explored is huge right now. I think that it's a brilliant thing to break into, being from South Africa, to give us that perspective.
I think my brain is just, I don't want to say conformed, but, when we started this publishing journey, you look at so many authors and then you think like, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is the way I'm supposed to be writing, and this is what I'm supposed to say and do. And so I have never, ever, honestly, and it's terrible to say this, I have never considered a South African character, even though it would be the easiest thing to write, because it's the one thing that I know. The research would be this compared to this that I'm doing now, but it's weird.
Well, funny enough, like all the novels that I have in my head, I've written one novel that's about a South African, but she goes to the Netherlands. So you kind of see her culture and the Dutch culture, which is cool. But then the majority of my other novels actually are set in America.
With this book that I'm writing now, there are things that I know people are going to not like, but this is the way the characters are, and I cannot, meddling with that feels like not being true to the story. So I wrote it the way it should be written, and I know there are some people, they're not gonna like it, but I'm sorry.
I've just been reading the little like sneak peeks that you've been giving, and I'm like, where is the book? Give it to me. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and for talking to us. It has been such fun, and I'm so excited about your new novel, which still has no title, but I will forgive you for that.
It has a title. Ooh.
Are we gonna?
Yeah. I will share the title here first. It's called A Play Pretend Marriage, because there's a lot of playing and pretending happening.
Love it. Because I thought, I was like, there should be a marriage in the title, because the previous one was an inevitable marriage and an inconvenient marriage.
I marinated on it for a while, and then I talked to my 2 author friends, and we all agreed, like, okay, no, it sounds good, and it will flow with the rest of the series. So we still have one more to come after this one.
For our listeners, so her next novel will be out when?
Somewhere in May next year. I think it's the 5th of May. I don't know.
We'll be nice and say in May 2025.
Yes, that is the hope.
But you can definitely go read, listen, whatever you feel like doing, to the first 2 in the big series, and then absolutely all your other novels. I'm very excited to see what more you will bring for us, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
For all those who want to follow her on Instagram or go to her website, it's www.akmcbride.com. All those links will be down in the details. Thank you so much for joining us, Alicia.
Thank you for having me.
And thank all of you for joining us as well. We want to keep it short and sweet here. Get your pens back on the paper and your fingers back on the keyboards.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Teen Tales Podcast, on Twitter /X, and now you can follow us on TikTok at Podcast Details. Go follow us on all of those platforms. Go comment, and especially go onto Apple Podcast, that purple icon, wherever you are listening to. And please go give us 5 stars and comment. We would love to chat with you on all the comments. It doesn't matter where you comment. We will see it.
Happy writing.
Bye.